Initiating System 1. System 1 loaded.
Hey, good night, everybody. Welcome to Festival Stage. I'm the Admiral. It's great to have you in company here on CBC TV 8. You know, this name, Festival Stage, one of these nights I will tell you how and why this name came about. It was quite interesting. Initially, when we thought about the name, I got people who said, nah, you can't do Festival Stage. That's not as popular as the name you had before, which was then Fireworks. But of course, you know the rest is history. Festival Stage has worked. Tonight, we're across the world, people. Compliment CMC. We're across the tri-state New York area. We're in Canada. We're in England. We're all over the Caribbean. And of course, we're right here in your homes on CBC TV 8. June the 25th, considered one of the saddest days in the music industry for fans of Michael Jackson, because it was on this day in 2009 that we learned of the death of Michael Jackson. And if you were like I was, I could not believe it. And as I said to my co-host while we were chatting off air earlier, you know, I said, if CNN says Michael Jackson is dead, then he is dead. So I decided I wasn't going to watch anybody, ABC, NBC, nobody else. I was watching CNN. And then, oops, the sad news. Yes, Michael Jackson had passed. And what a big loss. June, don't forget this date. You know, same time, one of the most popular ladies of the Charlie's Angels had passed, but she got no energy at all because the entire world was concentrating on of course, Michael Jackson, the king of pop. And talking about leaving us earlier this week, one of the most prolific songwriters in the Caribbean, a guy called Winsford Devine, died Monday morning, 4 o'clock Monday morning. By 5 o'clock, 5:30, it was in my email. There's a guy in Trinidad who was the former president of COTT in Trinidad, Alvin Daniel, and he said, Admiral, you got to get this. Yes, there he is. That is Winsford Devine. Now, you might have never heard this name, but if you know Crazies in time to come, that's the man responsible. As a matter of fact, when the top 100 songs of Trinidad and Tobago were revealed, this man had penned the #1 song, a song called Progress, sung by King Austin. Here's the thing about that. Many people never knew that this guy wrote all these big songs. He is the brother of singing Sandra Devines. And I want to say thank you, Winsford Devine, and his connections, because we watch all over the Caribbean. I can name several songs. Fill Up My Dear Mighty Sparrow. As a matter of fact, some of the biggest Sparrow hits this man would have been responsible for. Some of the biggest hits by Baron, he is responsible for writing those songs. And you know, your Christmas jumper to the song, Put Jesus in Your Christmas, Put Jesus in Your Christmas. That's him, Winsford Devine. What a prolific songwriter. Thank you, Winsford, for the wonderful music. Rest in peace, my brother. Let me say goodnight to Cassandra Crawford. How are you, Cassandra?
Hey, Admiral. I am doing fine, thank you. It's really good to be able to spend these few minutes with you, kicking things off as we focus on nostalgia. And it's good that you acknowledge that late, great, never forgetting him and the music he's given us in the King of Pop, and of course the late Winsford Devine as well. And you're right, we have to big up as well the Caribbean, our Bajan people, our Caribbean people who have had a hand in the music that we enjoy, the music that helps to make all our moments special or memorable, whatever moment it is that the particular song takes you back to, because that's what music does. So indeed a great loss. Singing Sandra went not so long ago, it seems, but again, lots of great music we've gotten from these wonderful minds.
Yeah, you bet. Well said. The Devines would have written for a few Barbadians too, who've kept very secret about some big names in the business. But again, as you mentioned, you know, so got to give credence to him for the wonderful contribution he's made to the Caribbean and beyond. Well, we've got a lot of things happening tonight. Cassandra.
Yes.
We've got a group of people who should be on CBC TV 8 tonight.
Yes.
In the Coca-Cola after party business and
That too. And
all
the
those
Soca
big songs.
Showdown.
Yeah, that's going to be huge. The Soca Showdown. Now, I am told we've got a special guest tonight. He's going to be on board with us tonight. So we're going to have a little chat with Mighty Gabby.
Yeah.
Because I need this likes competition. All of a sudden, after winning all those crowns, I'm willing to tell you, man, I give up I'm giving up. That's until though somebody challenges Mighty Gabby, you know.
So he needs the right challenge, is what you're saying?
Yes, he needs a proper challenge. When he gets the right challenge, he'll come back.
I need you to find out, because in a conversation with him, he sounded like he had a different focus. So I am interested to find out what his ultimate decision is. But I have a feeling that whatever it is, because you said he's given up the competition, I feel he'll be giving in one way or the other. But I'm looking forward to hearing what he does have to say. He has had such an interesting journey as a musician, as a writer, as a cultural icon, you know?
Of course. You know, he's still writing.
Yeah.
We are in a cricket chat, and Mighty Gabby almost writes a song every day. I'm not kidding you, Cassandra.
Sweet.
And he probably has well over 1,000 songs, because he was trying at the end of 2020. So I believe he might have done that.
I feel so too.
He is prolific. Brian Worrell is going to be here because, you know, there's all the talk about crop over and 150 people, and is it enough?
You remember last year, the 500 people was like, what? You a fat with 500 people.
Well, it's 150 now.
And COVID-19, this pandemic took everybody and went, just slapped us all in the face, you know? And we have to just try and work with the situation we have before us, because we do not have definite control over this situation.
We're not ready. There's a lot about herd community, but they need a lot more than that. And beginning to hear that some of the countries in the world now that were doing really well are now closing down again for whatever reasons. One particular variant that's spreading very, very quickly. The Delta variant. So we got to be very, very, very careful. Barbados, you got to continue to follow your protocols.
Stay vigilant.
You got to wear your mask. You're going to sanitize. You're going to social distance. Do all the things.
Keep it handy.
Yeah, like that. So he is the president of the Barbados Masquerade Association.
Vice president.
Right? The vice president. So the vice president will talk to us. I wonder what Brian is going to tell us tonight.
I'm looking forward to hearing. I want to hear what he has to say, and I want to hear possible solutions, because I've heard some interesting conversations about what can be done, what some possible better alternatives are to the 150 people. But there's that, and then there's the whole not much help extended, or no help extended to band leaders who would put out the 4-day morning bands. Right. So, you know, all of those things. But I would be one of the first people to admit I truly, truly, really miss all that is crop over, and the little fringe parties that you would have, and the official things. And I felt like, you know, if I don't know how many other people feel this way, but it's like if you knew that was going to be the last one for a while in 2019, everything would have been a little extra. Like, you know what I mean? I really miss the opportunity to enjoy or to work the events. I do miss that. Yeah. A lot.
What for me saddens it is the fact that the artists themselves have suffered so much. Because this is their livelihood, being unable to make any form of money. Yeah. I don't know, that must be very, very tough. But COVID has taught the world a whole lot. And the entertainment industry is not as solid as it appeared to be, Cassandra. It's really not. So these fellas must now find other ways of making money. And they need to be able to use the internet, use the YouTubes and all the other social media platforms out there to set yourself up, make some money, put your songs out there. I know we mentioned this last week. You've still got the radio stations and a bit of CBC TV 8 that every time your song is played, you're going to get some copyright money, but that's not enough.
Got to use all the avenues.
What they say is 0.03%.
Like, I can't even work that out in my head. Like, what?
It's horrible. It's really horrible. DJ Ras is going to be along tonight with us too. Now, he's been doing a great job with his stand-home parties.
Life of the party.
Yeah, he's the life of CBC too, where you meet him. He's something else. He never keeps quiet. But he's going to be along because we need to talk about the Coca-Cola after party. That's also coming up. So just as soon as you thought that because the stand-home parties were in a little sabbatical. More
things going on.
And longer times too, right?
Action.
Longer times.
Soca Showdown, Soca Stars is the focus this weekend.
I know,
and this is your chance to vote. This is your chance to vote, just like you voted for your 24 Soca Stars and your 24 Kaiso champions. You got to vote to keep them moving and see who ultimately will have the chance at winning $10,000 for Soca Star and $10,000 for Kaiso champion. I'm excited.
That's very good.
I could sing, but I can't participate.
You know, and it's sometimes good when the audience are the ones choosing the winners. Now, I mean, when I really treat Crystal Cummings real rough, though, by not putting her in the social commentary category, Cassie. That is something.
It's not up to me. It's not up to you.
I know. I
want to ask you something quickly before we go to break. We got some Mikey action. The Soca, the inaugural Soca King.
Well, the 2019 performance.
Yes, the 2019 was the last official one. But I want to know how many of these shirts you got. How many shirts do you really have, Admiral?
Is there a number called countless, endless?
Oh,
it's like that.
Okay.
You wear what you feel, how you feel.
I'm going to pull out your shirt medley for next time. I can pull that out.
I've still got it. You remember you did one?
Yes.
And I kept that. I kept that. That's amazing. But since then, the wardrobe has changed. Several things have been added, and we continue. It's fun. I like to wear pretty clothes.
I love it. Listen, your shirts are a big part of the stage. If you don't wear these shirts, it's just not the same. Just so you know.
You know, there was a year when I didn't want to wear a shirt. I wanted to do festival stage bareback.
You see that? No, that's another story. That's the controversial side of festival stage. We got to take a break, Admiral. Well, we got music to take you out.
All right. Yeah. Here's my key.
See a Soca, all my crew. This is what I want you. Go, everybody jump, 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 jump. Loosen the rest and push back, push back, push back, push. Everybody push, push, push. Anywhere we go, we bring the vibes to mash up the show. But right now, we got no more time to explain. Action time on the posse. Everybody, level up, bezel up. On the posse. Everybody, show me. On. This is what I want you. Everybody jump, jump. Jump. Loosen the waistline.
Get ready to vote for your favorite soca stars. Mr. Dale, Lil Rick, Edwin Yearwood, RPB, Griner, Biggie Irie, Statement, Mikey Mercer, Hyper Sounds, Allison Hines, Ras Eiley, Marvey, TC, Rupee, Mole, Lead Pipe, Blood, Mighty Gabby, Stiffy, Sanctuary, Peter Ram, Marsville, King Bubba, and iWeb.
Wow. That's really fantastic. I can't think about anybody who is not in there who should be in it. That is a wonderful group of star-studded performers of Barbados. And I want to say this to the Mighty Gabby, because I'm told that the Mighty Gabby don't want to be a part of, in inverted commas, the competition. This is not a competition. This is the people of Barbados choosing you, the Mighty Gabby, for the contribution that you've made over time. So you could easily win this title without having to do anything. There's no need, there's no competition involved. We have a legitimate excuse for John King, of course, as Minister in the Prime Minister's Office of Culture. He doesn't think that it would be prudent to be a part of the entire process, but he is in full support of it. So good. So I take John King, I put him in a corner, that's all right, I understand that. But Gabby, no. This is the people saying, we want the Mighty Gabby, we want to choose him as whatever. He may not be party or soca champion, but he may be Kaiso champion. So come on, let's play the game and let's enjoy yourself. DJ Ras is on board with us. Let me say goodnight and welcome Ras to festival stage. Ras, welcome guys, the biggest stage. This is where you become a really popular guy. Hello.
Is it no? If I knew that, I would have been here many more times.
Yeah, it's a big stage. We only invite big stars, and you've done some TV over time, so you're beginning to look the part. But talk to me, Ras. We've got to show up tomorrow night on CBC. You've got the Coca-Cola after party to deal with. What are we looking at? What can we expect?
We're looking at a stand-home party style tomorrow night. We have the Zoom is going to be fully active. We got the sponsors on board. You're going to have a chance to win prizes. We got DJs coming and spinning some of the best soca. You're going to get a different mix of music in there as well, along with the soca. And you're really going to have a up-tempo 2-hour party is what people could expect. So as soon as the first preliminary is done for the Soca Star, then you are going to get a up-tempo after party with a fully active Zoom. I'm going to be hosting, I'm going to be shouting out the people in the Zoom, making sure you get a chance to win prizes, going along with the DJs and carrying along that vibe and keeping the swing going.
What I find is very amazing about this is the fact that Barbadians who can't get out to see you guys, who would normally be on the circuit for cover performing, gets an opportunity to see you on stage here at CBC, strutting your stuff. And it is obvious that he has done a lot for you and some of these other guys, because I hear a lot of the DJs say, thanks to CBC, people now know who we are. People now can see what we can do. I think it's a great initiative.
Yeah, it's a really great initiative, and I don't think anyone could predict the way that it was going to go. And it has really revived some person's career, because they really didn't know what was going to be their next step to make money or to get the public's attention. But then here comes this big opportunity and this big platform and this big stage, and people all over the world getting to see you, because it's not just me, just watching. People in this diaspora and all over watching this show and carrying it to that level. So it has really given everyone a chance to really get yourself in line to be relevant again.
Yeah, I like that. I like the use of the word relevant, Ras, because
Yeah.
I know at one time the DJs were really seemingly under threat. We had the bands and the parties. The DJs would hardly get a space. Now COVID
Right.
comes along, changes the environment totally. The DJs become the number one, the important people in the party. And that is why it was good to, I know that you and your team have been working hard behind the scenes, trying to pull all the DJs together. A lot of them never appearing on TV, might have appeared sometimes to be very nervous. But I think after this, you're going to see a full crop of really hot, popular DJs in the country. Now that they are known, now that they've been on CBC TV8 strutting their stuff. And this is a wonderful move by the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation, at least to salvage some aspect of entertainment in Barbados and still allow many Barbadians who want to go out because of COVID-19. A lot of people are afraid. You could stay home. You don't have to wear your mask. You can do your little social distancing if you want. But if you got CBC TV8, and you know how it is, we got homes with 75-inch, 65-inch, 55-inch, 47-inch televisions. So you get a chance to enjoy the party as though you were in it. So this has been really wonderful. So who's coming along tonight with tomorrow night with you, Ras? Who's going to be on the set tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, we're going to feature from 98.1 to 1, DJ Touchdown. He's going to be playing for the Coca-Cola after party. And then we also going to have two young guys, Nico Vibes and Gunna. They've been making their way out on the scene. So the young people really seem to like them. So to bring that young element to it, we're going to have Nico Vibes and Gunna alongside DJ Touchdown tomorrow night to keep the party rocking all night. And I find this party has not only made DJs relevant, artists relevant, but it's also given sponsors another opportunity to reach their target audience. Because you see that is a wide target audience, a wide audience that watches these things on CBC now from very young to very old are enjoying it. So it's an easy way for sponsors to come on board and boom, reach their target just like that with minimum effort. You know, just get a package, call our sales and marketing department, get a package, and you can just hit your target just like that. It's really not much effort at all. Not much research either.
Very, very simple. Marketing at cbc.bb. All you need to do is to contact us there, send your information. And I see, Ras, I noticed that tons of sponsors have been coming in at night. They've been sponsoring this Stand Home party. And of course, tomorrow night is no exception. So that's really great.
Yeah, man. So we got to mention, of course, Coca-Cola for coming on board in a big way. Got a shout out to Dasani, also Flo, and also the NCF has come on, the National Cultural Foundation, McCarthy's Garage, Crispy Fried Chicken, Purity Bakeries. A lot of sponsors on board for tomorrow night. Of course, I also need to let people know that it's not only showing on CBC TV8, it's showing on CBC Barbados on YouTube and Facebook. Yeah. And then it's also streaming live on 98.1 and 94.7, best 24/7 radio stations. So if you're on the road tomorrow night, you want to listen via radio, you can listen. If you you got a bar, a shop, a restaurant, whatever, you get that barman, turn on Facebook, turn on YouTube, and you can watch, you can enjoy it together. So whether you're at home, whether you're out, you can enjoy the show tomorrow.
Thank you, Ras. I can see you're already in the party. You go on and enjoy yourself. Have some fun. We're going to see on CBC TV8 tomorrow night. But now we're going to throw to Marvey. Remember the song Summer? Right here on Festival Stage.
I know this and hot, we go cool it down. July, we go shell it down. August, we go on the road. Who you say? You ready for this summer? Yes, this summer. Girl, them turn up. Hold on to the fella. Bump past, spread out like it's an umbrella. Girl, come back it up on me. See this summer. Yes, this summer. Girl, them turn up. Hold on to the fella. Bump past, spread out like it's an umbrella. Come, girl. Soca, will make you whine and bend over. Baby, this is the tempo that will make you walk up your bumper. Lord, and not about the fast time thing, and not about the hurry thing, yeah.
I'm up on the slow whining. Sit I'm up on the slow grinding. You ready for this summer? Yes, this summer. Girl, them turn up. Pull on to the fella. Bump past, spread out like it's an umbrella. Girl, come back it upon me. See this summer. Yes, this summer. Girl, them turn up. Pull on to the fella. Bump past. How you feeling? Easy, easy. Come, girl, I want you to please me. Girl, I
Hi, my name is Khadija Baino, and if you're not jumping with colors for their band, you are making a very big mistake. And yes, we have a Kaduma band as well, so don't miss it. We there.
Yeah. Give it to me, that workout. Do the workout, girl. Do the workout, girl. Give me the workout, baby. Show them that you're not lazy. Ooh, lately, that body driving me crazy. Gym body. Not give it to nobody, oh gym body. Original them can photocopy, oh.
We never over, you sending me loca. I want your love, you giving me pressure. Love never sober, we dancing in soca. Ride you like vroom, vroom, vroom.
And you know we end up going lower. Until we end up going lower. Until we end up on the give it to me that workout. Give it to me that love, girl. Give it to me that workout. Give it to me that love. Give it to me that workout. Give it to me that love, girl. Give it to me that workout. Give it to me that love. Give me the love thing, baby. The madam and them shake.
Yeah, Colors, that's the band. And tonight we want to welcome Brian Worrell, Vice President of the Barbados Association of Masqueraders. We're going to have a little chat here. Brian, how are you? Good night.
Hey, man. Welcome. Thanks for having me on, Amro.
Welcome to the only stage that would allow you more than 150 people this year, Guy. Festival stage. It's really good to see you. But I mean, Brian, talk to me, man, because we're going into another year now where you guys are going to be at a loss. There's not a lot of money around. COVID-19 has taken its toll on the Masquerade situation in the country. What's going on across your members? What are you guys saying? How are you dealing with it?
Well, we would have met, a couple of us would have met with the PM a couple of weeks ago to kind of discuss how we were going to reopen when that 10 came. And the number 150 came up as the number that we would have to start at. I can't say everybody was happy about that number, but based on the guidance given from the Ministry of Health and the other authorities, that was the number that we were given, and that's where we will have to start. So we are moving ahead with plans to from the various associations to try to make that number work. We plan to do it in the safest possible way so that we can go back to the table with the powers that be and try to get an increase as we proceed through July.
Now, you talk about the 150 and your colleagues not happy, but are there stipulations that comes with this 150? Must this 150 people be fully vaccinated, or must they have a PCR test that shows negative? What are the particulars here?
All right, so the stipulations are pretty clear. There's no fully vaccinated agenda that you have to have a fully vaccinated party. But there is a need for PCR testing to occur prior to attending FETs. So we will have some pre-approved venues which we will have to register for through the NCF.
Wow.
And once your event is approved, then persons attending will have to be tested. I believe the latest that we heard from the COVID unit is that fully vaccinated persons will not have to be tested, and that persons who are not vaccinated will have to be tested and get the results back 48 hours prior to the event they're attending.
Assistance. I know the Prime Minister spoke to you guys, and there were some monies that were offered to you guys. How would a band like yours benefit from this?
Well, my band is in a kind of in the middle, because we do both 40 and we do Grand Kadooment. And I also was now launching my first Kiddies Kadooment band for 2020 when COVID came.
Wow.
So, colors would have been in that category where we would only qualify for the Grand Kadooment subsidy that's being offered. But there would be some bands that are eligible for both the Grand Kadooment and the Kiddies, as they would have registered and have bought a band on the road for 2019.
What about the sum of money offered? How have you guys taken that?
The members, we did meet with the members soon after the meeting with the PM to share the information. And subsequently, after her announcement on last Saturday, we would have discussed with our members what came out in terms of the monies offered. There were no adverse feelings from the membership in terms of what was offered. It does come at a time where it's needed by a lot of the band leaders that have extended money from last year to prepare for Crop Over 2020. And we would have been waiting anxiously to find out if we would have had a 2021 for Crop Over. But sadly, that is not going to occur this year.
Talk to me about monies. We see these big bands on the road. How much is the investment for someone like you to put a band on the road? Let's look at what is being offered and what really should be offered if you're going to even put 150 people on the road.
All right, so I can speak for colors, firstly. Our band enters in the large category, so that's 301 persons or more for Grand Kadooment. And a production can vary based on the style of production you're putting on, but I would say a band really is from $200,000 and up
Wow.
that you're looking at in terms of putting the product on the road, in terms of your costuming, the full production, from the costumes to staffing to infrastructure to advertising, So that's why you see most of the bands, we would try to generate some income from holding fets through the season. So for instance, Colors, we would do maybe 6 to 8 fets starting from June all the way through July, and that, if we get people to come out and support those parties, it would help us to raise some capital for the band.
That's a lot of money, $200,000, and yet the people in the region look to the Barbados Carnival as a small island carnival. One could just imagine if you dealt with a band that had one section with 5,000 people. Is there any room for growth then, seeing that so much money is involved with 300 people in a band? Is there room for growth in the future? Let's say COVID subsides a bit. Where do you fellas plan to go? Because clearly you're going to need a much greater investment.
Well, there's always room for growth. I mean, if we looked at, where Grand Kadooment is now, I mean, we're seeing more overseas people, participating in Grand Kadooment than our locals. And we need to make a paradigm shift to kind of get our locals back on the road in terms of, participation in Kaduma, and not just sideliners. A lot of it is driven by the cost. So up to last year, we would have, and we would have been discussing this for a while now, but last year we would have received the duty-free concessions that we would have been looking forward to taking advantage of in terms of our imports for the bands, the raw materials, finished costumes, etc. And that would help us a great deal in terms of lowering our overhead. And once we can get an ease in our overheads, then that cost would then be passed on, to the customers. So the customers can then realize that the costume costs may come down drastically once we are given an ease on what we have to output to put the bands on the road.
Yeah, because costumes have really gotten very expensive in Barbados. I noticed, particularly over the last 5 years, and it would seem as though every year it continues to climb. I guess too, with the personalities coming into the festival, one would want to put the very best costumes on show. The reality is, and Brian, you could let the people know this, it's not easy to build these costumes. These costumes are very expensive. So it's not easy to build them. They're also very much a time-consuming factor. Takes up a lot of time. You fellas burn the midnight oil consistently during the crop over period. So I know it's very tough.
You're telling me, because right now, what is it now? It's end of June. Like, we would have been in full production mode already, pushing 18-hour days. Yeah. I do a homegrown kind of production where my family and a few close friends would assist me in producing the costumes, all the costumes for the band. And that's the model that I use in terms of cutting the overhead so that I can give a more affordable product. Because if I go the standard way of, importing my costumes, then the cost of the overseas designers and the overseas production companies, then that cost is going to be way outside my target market that I'm trying to get. So to combat that, I've taken the decision to do a homegrown kind of production, using local manufacturers for swimsuits. We would have to still import the raw materials because obviously we don't have them here. But in terms of the production cost to put the band together, it's easier for me to do that from a homegrown kind of standpoint rather than importing, because I know the target market that I'm trying to reach. So I try to keep the costumes affordable, but I try to keep the product premium.
Brian, are we ever going to get back to the stage where we can see bands parading with a king and queen of the band? That has been lost from our carnival for almost 20 years now. Is it ever going to happen in the near future?
Again, that comes down to funding. So there are many band leaders. I can tell you one of my mentors, I would say for sure, Trevor Chase, that he's always eager and ready and willing to put a king and queen out there. For anybody that's following Kaduma and Popova, Trevor's been always willing. Betty has always been willing. Gwyneth has always been willing, to put those costumes there. But it comes down to making financial sense for the business model that you have. So if you're going to extend, $10,000+ to put a king and a queen out, and then you may not be able to win, or if you do win, the prize money that you're winning may be just enough to pay back for what you spent. Then there's no profit in putting in the effort to put a king and queen. If you look at what Trinidad would offer for their king and queen of mass and etc., there's a benefit to being involved in making large king and queen costumes. So if there's not a benefit to match the effort you got to put in to make the costumes, then it really doesn't make sense.
No, I agree.
But before you comment, I would say that it's missing, because I can tell you when I travel and I go to, I participate in Labor Day. I have it to Boston. I try to hit a lot of international carnivals, and it's something that's missing from our Crop Over Festival. And the powers that we need to try to give some funding, because every band doesn't do it or may not be interested in doing it, but they would need some funding in order to facilitate them in that effort.
Now, I could understand you, Brian, and I'll tell you, it takes a lot of money to build the king and queen costumes. I don't know if you've ever investigated prices, but one of those costumes could run you up in $300,000-$400,000 in order to build.
According to how big you go.
That's right.
Yeah, according to how big you go. So it's a huge effort.
Yeah, and we are talking about proper costuming. All right, so what have you got in place now with the little time we've got left? What have you got in place for this year now that you've heard the announcement, 150 people? What can we expect from Colors?
Well, the plan is that, as I said, coming on that meeting with the PM, what the plan is that we will try to execute, and I want to say that all of the associations are together in terms of wanting to follow all of the protocols being set up with the Ministry of Health and the authorities. So if you're coming to our event, just know that the protocols will be enforced heavily, because our intention is not for us to open and then close in a month. Right. You know, the plan is that we want to stay open and to get Barbados moving again in terms of all the people that depend on our industry to make a living. You know, it trickles all the way down to retail stores, hairdressers, nail techs, everybody that depends on our industry to be moving in order for them, to also to make a living. So the plan is that for Colors, we are looking at the options we have at the 150 right now, right? To see what we can mobilize, maybe do a couple of lines, maybe a kind of brunch party to see if we can get that activated and then move from there. We're supposed to go back to the table in about 2 to 3 weeks, if not instances COVID related, and maybe try to get an extension on the numbers, and we can keep growing and growing from there once we're doing it in a safe way.
And Brian, I'll tell you, it's not looking good. I certainly hope that the people behave themselves so that we could at least have a semblance of crop over in 2021, because I know you guys are missing this. This is your heart, this is your job, this is your life, and I know you guys are missing it. And I certainly wish you all well. But is there anything as it relates to 4-Day? Have you discussed that? Is there going to be anything about 4-Day happening in 2021 at all?
Well, we would have had early discussions with the NCF, and this is from BAM, and 4-Day doesn't have an official association as yet. Right. Many of us, though, are also 4-Day morning band leaders. Like I was in 4-Day morning for almost 20 years now. And, you know, I kind of look out for all of the interests of our 4-Day morning band leaders. And, you know, we don't have an official association, so we don't have that official seat as yet. But questions have been asked in terms of, you know, the plans for 4-Day. And because of the type of event that it is, early on in the game, 4-Day was not going to be allowed for 2021. Likewise, Kiddies. You know, those two events were kind of hot topics in terms of being allowed for 2021, because kids, you don't want to expose the kids to, you know, to any COVID-related incidents if you can avoid that. And then because of the 4-Day morning night element and, you know, the dirty mask concept, there's a lot of close contact with that, and they can't monitor it as well as maybe we can with Kaduma Day. So those two events were kind of pulled from the negotiations early on for 2021. But, you know, with subsidies being paid, I mean, for the last week, I've been feeling calls from a number of 4-Day morning band leaders that feel a little bit aggrieved that they haven't been, you know, also added to the pool for some sort of a subsidy, because many of us, including myself, would have already created our product for 2020. My prototypes were finished, everything just before we shut down. So we also would have spent significant amounts in terms of being prepared for crop over. But unfortunately we weren't included in the subsidies that were provided for the banks.
Wow. Were you given any explanation as to why you were not included?
It may be because of the dynamic with the bands in terms of we are not, we don't receive subsidies or subventions every year from the NCF. Right. And that may be the thinking behind it, because we furthermore, we have to pay to enter 4-Day, right? Yeah. Where all others in the festival are free to enter, 4-Day is still a pay to participate event. So, you know, maybe because we are not already budgeted, you know, by the NCF for allotments of funds, maybe that's the reason why we weren't included. But I would say here that we would welcome any subsidies that you know, if it was an afterthought, you know, I would tell you many band leaders will welcome any subsidy that the NCF could provide at this time.
I know that you are very aware that COVID has affected all the carnivals all over the world, particularly Trinidad and Tobago. They haven't even began discussions about carnival for this year, next year, or any other year because of the rampant COVID-19 in the country, although they are seeing some cases it seems as though they are doing pretty well this far. But Dr. Keith Rowley have made it abundantly clear that's not even in the thought process right now. And COVID-19 has really devastated the entire Caribbean, St. Vincent, Grenada. You just named the territories. Nothing is really happening. So, Brian, we still got to be very careful. I know that the cabin fever have got you guys well hooked. There's a loss of funds and a tremendous loss of funds. A lot of people out of work because that's what Crop Over does. Crop Over provides a lot of work opportunities for people. So I mean, it is something that but we can understand. But I certainly hope that we do well. We continue to follow the protocols in Barbados to help us get to a stage where you guys could be seen on the road again and we could see those beautiful costumes once again.
And I want to just reiterate that, you know, we from last year have been doing everything asked of us in terms of the protocols.
Yes, yeah.
You know, and it would never be any promoters or any professional promoters' intention, you know, to go out there and do something that would cause the spread of COVID in Barbados, because it affects everyone. And we know that our industry is the first industry that will be closed, because we are a social close contact type industry. So we need to do whatever we can, you know, to ensure that it stays open as long as possible.
Brian, I want to thank you and I wish you well, you and the other Masquerade crew. I know we're anxious to get back on the highways and byways. We all are, but you got to take our time and get there and make sure that we're all safe when we do.
As the PM said, fast to close, slow to reopen. We bought into that concept. We will do it. We will try to reopen slowly. And, you know, once people come out and support the events that start early out in July, you know, I know people are raring to go. I mean, I just posted a little snippet about doing an event on my Instagram page a few nights ago. And I got almost over 500 responses to saying, yes, the people are ready to go. You know, so we know people are ready to go. I would say, again, just be willing to come out and follow the protocols that are laid out by the authorities. And we will stay open.
Thank you. Brian Worrell there, Vice President of the Barbados Association of Masqueraders. Let's go back to the stage and welcome...
We ain't coming here now to mind nobody business.
Gabby think he is. He refused to record Voltaire unless Eddie Grant is the engineer. I grew up bathing in seawater, but nowadays that is the horror. And now you see what I bring. Oh, this is my true culture in the Caribbean. Indian politician and the narrow refuse. For me will always have to be on the P's and Q's. How you missing it so? You used to brag before. If you could handle me, take it and let me see. Gun in the hand, making a stand to quell a non-existent rebellion with all them boots and more boots. Calypso, sweet, sweet Calypso, but dangerous Calypso. Now since slavery, them ruling we. Treat me like a dog, but don't break me dish. I want you to give me back the cuckoo and fly it. There she, Trini. Look, give me back the cuckoo and fly it. The record show he was looking for Roman scalps. You know he used the Gauls and the Spaniards with elephants to capture the land. But they can't tell you Hannibal was a black man. Hot like volcano, fighting like a demon, jumping in the pan, baby flag in the hand. Rainbows taking over the land. Jump in the band, woman and man, wave your flag and shake your bum and rainbows taking over the land. Who cares but for not when the beast guard in the door? The cemetery for all them eyesore.
What a discography, what a contribution. Dr. Anthony Carter, the Mighty Gabby. Welcome to Festival Stage, the virtual edition. Gabby, it's good to see you.
Same here, buddy. Good to see you too. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Gabby, watching that montage, my goodness, you have made us happy for so many years. So many songs, and the people of Barbados are deciding that their number one man for soca or social commentary gonna be Mighty Gabby. I don't know what you gonna do about that, Gabby, but we have a choice. How are you doing, Gabbo?
I am well. How about yourself?
I know that you are still writing. I see you in the cricket chat every day, and almost every day you're coming up with something out of that brain. I was telling Cassandra early on this program that it's probably 1,000 songs a year. Am I pretty close to accurate, or is it more than that?
No, not quite. What happened? I wrote, in the last 3.5 years, I wrote 1,500 poems.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Just slightly over. It's about 1,540 or something.
All right, Gabby, now we have this competition here going where, as you know, we have asked Barbadians to write in and choose their superstars. It's not a competition where judges are involved and judging melodies and lyrics. They're not interested in that. What we have asked Barbadians to do is to look back, think back of all those songs, all the artists who would have contributed over the years. Who, to your mind, is the champion of all champions in Barbados as it relates to social commentary or as it relates to party? Now, we don't have anything to do with any decision that's being made. It's not an NCF production, it's just a CBC putting it out there and making it happen. And Gabby, the reality is that if the people choose you, they choose you, and you've got no choice. You got it? So it has nothing, we don't have any points to tabulate. It's a Gabby melody wasn't right, or he didn't do this, or he didn't do that. It's nothing like that. It's about Barbadians recognizing the contribution that you've made to Barbados, whether it be in party or social commentary, and deciding among themselves, all the Barbadians, the 300,000 that we've got here, saying, Gabby is the man. Now they may well say Bag is the man or Malik is the man or Invader is the man or whatever. It's up to them, but it's not up to us. So hold strain because you just never know, Dr. Carter. It might be you. We don't know. We don't know, but time will tell. Now, let's talk a little bit about Dr. Carter. You got that right, though. You understand that, Dr. Carter, right? You understand, Gabby, that this ain't got nothing to do with me. You understand that, right?
I'm quite aware of that. Yeah.
Good.
I'm quite aware of that.
So the people choosing you. So you stay right there. The people choosing you. John King could not enter because John now is a minister. So he has to protect that portfolio, and we don't want the confusion. We don't want the politics in here because you know the first thing Bajans can say if he win, because he's a politician, we give the title. So John has decided to gracefully bow out, right? Sadly so, bow out, decide Barbadians, you all take over and choose who you want. Good, I've been seeing some entries, Gabby, boy, it looking tight. It looking really, really tight. So talk to me, Gabby. I mean, COVID-19 really did put a spoke in the artists of Barbados and their ability to be able to come out, perform for us. We haven't had the Calypso tents. You yourself, Gabby, you've not been doing a lot of stage work as it relates to the parties and the Kaiso tents and all that. So what's been going on with your life?
Very good question. A lot of Zooms or the equivalent of Zooms. That's what's been happening. And I've been enjoying it. We still do some online teaching and all of that.
Wow.
And also, I've been in a lot of conferences. I was in a African World Conference just a few weeks ago. I had to do a presentation, and it was very well received. This is the 7th year that they had it. And wow, I was in some illustrious company. I can't believe that they had actually asked me to make my contribution in terms of history of Africa. And I started my point from Egypt and traveled on, showing that that all people in the world came from Africa, all the races. That there really is only one race in the world, that's the African race, and they just emigrated to other places like India and Europe and so on. And in fact, that the first time anyone ever saw what people call white people Caucasians was at the foot of the Caucasus mountains in Russia, So that, and of course, several schools would call and ask me to, make some kind of either a presentation in terms of the history of Calypso or, sing once in a while, or just give a historic account of Crop Over or things like that. So yeah. I've been pretty busy in this lockdown.
Gabby, the virtual thing became a part of our lives in earnest just at the onset of COVID-19. A lot of people have been able to deal with it. A lot of people have not been able to deal with it. How are you dealing with it?
In terms of the lockdown?
In terms of the technology that you would have had to become a part of, that you would have had to become very familiar with.
Yes, but I would still say I'm at dinosaur stage, because every time I want some help, is either my wife or Bit or Fiona, I got to give me the help. I was like a fish out of water. I called Peter Allen tonight. I called you. I called Cassandra. I didn't get you at first. I called 3 other people, including Keisha Hines at CBC, including Tisha Hines. I mean, it's like, I'm saying to myself, why am I going to catch up with the rest of the world, But, at the end of the day, here we are. So,
it worked. It worked. I want to talk to you because I believe if there's one person in this country that can talk to me about Winsford Devines would be the Mighty Gabby. We lost him on Monday morning. He passed away at 4 o'clock on Monday morning in Trinidad. And we all know that Devine, like yourself, is a prolific songwriter. This gives you an opportunity to pay a little tribute to him, because I know that you guys must have talked before, must have been friends.
That's absolutely true. I said in the chat, we have 100 page in chat, that Devine is the greatest writer we have ever produced. And I do not mean calypso writer. Whether we include Kamau Braffett, whether we include Derek Walcott. You see, a lot of people who judge Derek and Kamau and so on, they read their work. But when you check with them, they have never really listened to the works of Devine. They might have heard a song or two. You might have heard that he wrote Capitalism Gone Mad for Sparrow, or that the song I Want Somebody to Hug Up for Baron. Or they might have heard, yes, that he did Crazies In Time to Come, you know, or that they might have heard that he, when Battle first started, he wrote that song. They say I'm too young to soca. What are you making so? And then they get interested and say, wow, he wrote all those songs. They have no idea. Joker showed me a printout of songs he wrote, and they were over 6,000. Here I am feeling happy that I wrote 1,500 songs, and here's this man with 4 times more songs than me, and not none, you know, little baby songs. But a man could write something like, Philip, my dear, last night I thought was you in here. Where did you go? Seeking for good old London. Missing out all the action, my dear. Did you know? There was a man in my bedroom, loaded with broom. He told me, come hither and void, and all my good linen he soiled. He was so obscene. A man in my bedroom, so nasty and mean, saying to me, let God save the queen. Now, I mean, you understand the imagery that he put down there? Or he wrote, you got to be a millionaire or some kind of petty bourgeoisie anytime you live in here in this country. So many bills to pay, there is no conceivable way to save for a rainy day in this country. And then it goes on to talk about what, you know, what costs what this, that, what, that. And all the end of that, he brings in a few lines and he says, at last, here in Trinidad, we see capitalism gone mad. Oh my God. You know, there's a song I heard you play a morning that was sung by Baron, Mother Earth. Mother Earth is crying. Beautiful song. And then, you know, he wrote Progress. Today, when I look around in the world, what do I see? I see footsteps that man has left on the sand while walking through time. You know, and he talks about environmental warfare and this. And I ask myself, when will it end? When will it end? It is plain to see universally the world is not as bountiful as it was, simply because in his quest for success, nothing stands in man's way. Old rivers ran dry. Soon the birds wouldn't fly. The mountains will be no longer high. And when I really think of it, I just wonder why. Oh my God. And a man still be able to put melody to that and say, today when I look around in the world, what do I see? I see footsteps that man has placed on the sun while walking through time. I see environmental warfare, atomic warfare, and I ask myself, when will it end? When will it end? It is plain to see. Universally, this world's not as bountiful as it was, simply because in his quest for success, nothing stands in man's way. All rivers run dry. Soon the birds won't fly. The mountain will be no longer high. And when I really think of it,
the price of
I
progress
just
is
wonder
high.
why. Please, Lord, bread. They don't understand. You know what? The minister was saying, good calypso writer, not great calypso writer. Put his name next to Shakespeare. Put him next to H.W. Longfellow. Put him next to Keats and all the rest of them. Put him next to Derek Walcott. Put him next to Kamau Brathwaite. Because he is that good. His works. Because I was lucky, see, Eddie Grant had done the publishing for a lot of those works. And I was able to sit down for 3 years in Eddie's studio listening to only Devine's work and was absolutely blown away, astounded because, yes, I know all the songs that everybody else know and all that, but the ones that I wasn't familiar with are the ones I'm speaking about, like the same Mother Earth.
Yeah.
Right?
That was,
everybody know Progress and everybody know I want somebody to hug up, somebody to love up, right? Byron and so on. But Devine wrote a song called The Raper Man Coming for his cousin Sandra, which is Singing Sandra.
Singing Sandra.
And I used to count that song every night in the tent for Sandra. I loved it so much. I said, Sandra, you're singing this song a little too fast. Bring it back. She was new. She said, Gabby, you think so? I said, yeah. We have no time to rehearse, so let me count from the side of the stage to the band, and I'm going to count it for you. Watch and see what's going to happen. And when I counted that song, every night from then till the season was finished, Sandra got an encore. Because it was, sometimes it's just the tempo that prevents you from getting an encore, you know. Not the structure, not the melody, not the lyrics, not the topic, just that beat. If it's too fast, you're going off. If it's too slow, you're going off. You got it's the right beat.
Gabby,
and from then, and it brought confidence to her.
Gabby, let me take you back a little bit here. You've done many competitions in Barbados over the years. Which competition to your mind would you say would have been your toughest, or maybe the one you like the most? I have something in my head. I'm thinking about one particular year, but I want to know if my year is the same year you're thinking about.
I believe so. The year would have to be 1985 when I did when culture
West Indian politician and culture.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that year everybody was starting. As a matter of fact, I remember being backstage and hearing a man saying, my God, I don't know who to choose tonight. Whoever to choose, I'm happy with. I came here to support Gabby and Bike, but whoever they choose, I'm happy with. Right? Because, you know, Blood had Sport Billy, Malik had Sonia could ride. I think John King had Plantation. But, you know, Bike had Hand Tied or something like that. But anyhow, all the songs were excellent. I mean, but
Gabby,
and I had Woman and Robert, which was
exactly.
Really good.
You had Tony Commander Grisette in there with two big songs that you wrote. But I'll tell you what, let's take a pause for a little pause, Gabby. A quick pause. Don't go away. Don't turn off the phone. Don't do nothing. We're coming right back.
Taking over the land. Rainbows are coming with rainbows. Of course, the matabos. Hot like walking on fire, biting like a big fire, jumping in the pan, waving flag in the hand. The rainbows taking over the land. Jump in the pan, woman and man, wave your flag and shake your bum bum. Rainbows taking over the land.
Bimbi do de. Bimbi lole, bimbi do de. All of this talk.
Wow, the forever classic. Gabby, I know you like 1985. I enjoyed 1985. But when I look back, 1982 was also a very strong year for you. That was also a very strong year. That was the coming of the wise man from the east. And you guys divided this country in two. Half was hailing for Gabby. This is reality. Half was hailing for Red Plastic Bag. And so we had an audience at the stadium that we hadn't seen in years because RPB was coming full throttle. He had won several of the community competitions up there, and everybody felt that he's the big Guffy, so he coming down to the town to beat the Mighty Gabby. And so the debacle at Kensington at the National Stadium unfolded, where, of course, he had Mr. Harding Camburn and Sugar Made Us Free, and you were knocking hard with Calypso, which was very contentious that year. The pundits were trying to determine whether or not it was a Calypso. And, of course, the Mighty Jack, Don't Want Me to Bid on My Beach. Now, that was a tough year.
Very much so. And I understand that there were 2 or 3 points that separated us at the end of the evening. And, you know, I am so grateful that my friend Stetson Wilter the bike came into the competition because it allowed the competition to lift and have a youngster. You know, I think he was like 19, 20 years old at the time, right? And it allowed us to see what real fans are all about. Because the ardent fans in St. Philip, when you look into those stands, even from that time until he's finished competing, you felt almost like if it was a team that playing an away game. Because all you saw in front of you was red plastic bags. And none of us really had come up with a theme. I had said very quietly, I would let my people to wear white. But they didn't come up, even if they were there support, they didn't come up in their clothing. Like the people in red would wear a red shirt, a red pants, a red hat, a red plastic bag, red shoes, red something, red flags waving. So you were going up against that first of all. So Stetson never had to feel like if he had to fight to get an audience, the audience was always there. Whereas now, someone like me, I could look at the audience and believe that some of that audience is mine, but I cannot be sure how much. But automatically he could be sure who were his fans. And then there were the other quiet fans who didn't wear red, who were also there. So you had 2 sets of fans that were support Stetson at the time. But I mean to say that his contribution is so damn good that we can't ignore it, you can't deny it, right? It allowed the Calypso to live, to have something, and Barbadians like competition bad. So I was never a great lover of competition. I would always compete so that it would have something that the people could go to so they can, you know, the war, man, Gabby can beat you real bad. You man can support my bag and be so bad tonight. You know, so they always had that kind of thing in it. And it was, you know, what can I say? It was the thing that drove the Calypso, especially the finals. I remember telling Andrea Golla, I said, Andrea, one day we are going to fill that stadium with Calypso fans. And Andrea, who was in the arts with me, said, Gabby, I think that you are mixing up Barbados with Trinidad. Barbadians are not Calypso fans in an ardent manner. Barbadians will listen to a Calypso, enjoy the and go along. Barbadians like Calypso, and Trinidadians would die for Calypso. So you ain't gonna see that? I said, and I'm telling you what I'm feeling inside of me. We are going to fill that stadium. Well, that first year, 1982, when Stetson came down, I mean, you got to be there to understand what happened. Here was Billy Miller, being, I think she was the Minister of Culture at the time, with tickets in her hand, climbing over the wall because couldn't get it, right? You had an atmosphere. When I arrived at the stadium, it was buzzing. I mean, it was actually buzzing. There was a noise going on, and you couldn't understand nothing that anybody was saying because everybody was talking at the same time. Some cussing me, some cussing back, some cussing St. Philip people, some of them cussing the ones down Chapman Lane. The whole set of thing was like, let me tell you something, this is something. So when the night was over and Bag was announced, it was euphoria, right? It was euphoria. And from then I knew I had a real opponent, a man that would stay in that competition and was a competition preparedness giant. I used to go and sing, but I go prepare. I go know what's going to rehearse, what's the chorus going to say, where he got to be on stage at a certain time. This, that. In fact, Matt Fingal told me they used to study me all the time, and he said, "We can't out sing him, we can't outperform him, so we got to do something to beat him." And they would strategize, they would do things. He said, "Gabby, it's easy to beat. It's easy to beat. It's something else, yeah." And they'd hug me up and laugh because we had passed that stage of any animosity or anything like that. And I remember that the following year, my children were very young, and I was going with Eddie Grant. We had done Hit It and Books. It was pretty successful at Mississippi. I was going with Eddie Grant, and I might tell him, you know what, stop him by Stetson and surprise him. It was early in the morning. It was like before 7 o'clock. And I eased up there and sit fell up by the pond in Bayfield. And I saw him, his guitar door open, and he's playing the guitar at Christmas morning. And I bang him, like, what you doing in my place? Yeah, hey, Gabbard, so you get, Mom, look who out here. And Miss Wiltshire came out. And she said, I said, look, call me Ruby. I said, but I want to tell you and Stetson something. I want the toe winner right now to give up this calypso foolishness and come and praise the Lord. The Lord will never let one suffer. When I got so much talent, I wanted to be doing this talent for the Lord. I fell in love with that woman from that day. And my son went in her bedroom. He was like 4 years old or something. And next thing I know, I ain't see him, Fidel coming back out. Me and Stetson, what happened there? He and David Miss Wiltshire. And then she come out, he's either going to be a crook or a very brilliant man, but I more think he's going to be a crook, you know, Gabby. Or the things that he's telling me already at 4 years old, he ain't supposed to be able to talk to me like that. And that created a bond, a love between me and Bag that was absolutely, still, we always compete like, you know, we got to win, we got to do everything. But real love, man. I mean, Gabby, I went to Stetson like 3 days ago. We went to do something for UE, you know, to encourage youngsters to attend UE and so on. I was so happy to see him, and you could see, if somebody was there, you could see in our eyes, you know, that we are real brothers, man.
Yeah. Gabby, we're going to invite our callers, 228-5563, to call with maybe their questions or their accolades or whatever they want to bestow on you. But of course, we looked at the 85 competition. You have had so many great songs over the years. One of my absolute favorite songs, Village Music. I like to call that Culture Part 2. I didn't hear a lot of that in Barbados, but I mean, Village Music is one that for me should not have been missing from the annals of the music history of Barbados, because it spoke to, when you talk about the real culture of the people, you brought a picture of the village that did not happen in culture. I guess that was not the purpose of that song, but when you listen to Village Music, you saw such a beautiful picture, and yet it almost like went missing. But guess what? I've had a lot of people who've submitted entries, and you'll be amazed and surprised to know the songs that they've chosen by the Mighty Gabby.
Ah.
Yeah, you'll be very surprised. I think too, Gabby, and I want to ask this for the audience own purpose, I guess. You've stopped recording now for quite a while. Why is that?
One is that, I like to record with one person, that's Eddie Grant. And in these days, it's difficult. It really is. He's doing a lot of different things very quietly. He always moved quietly. And the time, because it's about time. I have always said, and truthfully, that the time it takes Eddie Grant to do one recording, most people could do an album or two. Because he doesn't cut corners. He would just do his best. But I don't want to veer from this too much, but I want to say something. The year I signed Village Music, I did not even make semifinals. I sang that and a song called Henry Fraser.
Henry Fraser.
I was of the opinion that the judges or somebody else felt that this was too controversial and all of that, and so they cut me out of the semifinals, and the newspaper screamed, Gabby out, But when you listen back to those two songs, really, it was difficult for anybody who knows a little bit about Calypso to find out. But so Dawn was like, Gabby, you were in the first 5 or 6 easily, but do not ever let it bother you, because in time the songs will tell their own story. Yeah. I said, of course. That was the end of that. Yeah.
But you see, Gabby, because you are judged at a different level, if the average Kaisonian had performed Village Music on the night, they would have gone to the finals. They would have bypassed the semi-finals and gone to the finals. But it was Mighty Gabby, so you know how you are judged. Top draw. We are coming back on Festival Stage. We are talking to Dr. Anthony Carter, the Mighty Gabby, and if you'll call us 228-5563, we'll take your calls. We'll be back. I don't know if you noticed, Gabby, but I want to tell you, in 1983, you sold out a boot store in Trinidad. I used to be there all the time. Yeah, I'm very serious about this. You sold out a boot store.
Yeah, no, I heard about that.
You did.
I heard about that, and there was a band, a junior carnival band, and they had a section with boots. And they built it so beautifully that the children were in the boots. It was something to see. I don't know how they got it done. Right, these children were inside of the boots and walking, and the song was being played. And I don't know how to explain this, but there are 2 of my songs that have played in Carnival every single year since they were released. And that was Boots and Dr. Cassandra.
Yep.
I don't know, Trinidadians have an affinity to those 2 songs. I can't even explain it because sorry to interrupt you. I'm saying to myself, yes, I wrote a lot of songs. But why Dr. Cassandra and Boots of all the songs, but you talk to the average Trinidadian, and they'll be able to tell you of 2 of my songs. Not many more, but they'll be able to tell you 2, and the 2 will always be Boots and Dr. Cassandra.
And there were several reasons for that, Gabby, but we don't have time to explain those reasons, but I know of those reasons. I also remember you being on stage singing Hit It that year in Trinidad, and if not, I'm sure it was Tobago Crusoe, who was the cricketer, who was on stage mimicking the shots and doing all sorts of things. Yeah. We could talk for a whole night, Gabby. We need another half an hour on this program, guys. If you're going to bring Mighty Gabby and we're going to talk stories, we need more time. But Gabby, we're out of time. Dr. Anthony Carter, I want to thank you for coming out and being a part of our festival stage, the virtual edition. I'm sure before the season is ended, we're going to meet and we're going to talk some more. But it's been an absolute pleasure. I wish you well, and I hope that at the end of the day, that Barbadians remember all those many hits over the years, and when the announcement is made, the Calypso King of Barbados of all time, the Mighty Gabby. You've got a lot of competition in there, including the red plastic bag, but don't give up. Thank you so much, Gabby. Thank you. That's our presentation, people. Ending it, of course, with saving the best for last, the Mighty Gabby. Thank you. Thanks to all who made it possible tonight. We could have done with another half an hour, though, you know. Yeah, maybe next week. You just never know. Don't forget to join us tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, the announcement and the party will be happening with all those who have qualified for the first section of the Soca competition here. And after that, the Coca-Cola after party is going to be huge. DJ Ras is going to be in the building. Be a part of CBC TV tomorrow right here. And don't forget, there's also some cricket happening. So you never know what's going to happen, people. Great things happening over the weekend. We'll check you next week, Friday, in another presentation of Festival Stage, the virtual edition. I'm the Admiral. Have a safe weekend.